And that's where you can make the greatest improvements and create a great team by focusing on meaning.
Well, certainly you've driven home the message, Gerhard, that you need to replace fear with hope and confidence. You need to refocus on the right messages, and you need to have the right people delivering those messages. Interesting to hear you say that now is also the time for competitive companies to weed out their marginal performers, to upgrade their sales force, to replace them with people who can in fact carry those messages, and also to reassure your top performers. How do you make sure that you keep your top performers engaged, that you keep them motivated, and that you keep them from wanting to stray at this time?
Well, there's one thing that we didn't talk about. I think this is the time to bring fun back into the sales organization. And I know one CEO who sits down with the top performers at the President's Club meeting, and they jointly make up their bucket list. What do they want to do before they die? So then all of a sudden, you know that here is Patrick, who is the closer out there in the field, and he actually wants to be on a balloon flight crossing the Sahara Desert. A crazy idea. But now as a CEO, now I know what Patrick wants. I can give you a gift book about the Sahara. I can get you in touch with the tour operators who organize that. So I can create motivational incentives for you so you are going to move confidently in the direction of your dreams with the company that you're working for, because the company understands what you dream about. And somebody once said, if you know people's dreams, you can sell them anything. Because people want dream fulfillment.
That's so interesting, Gerhard. But how does a company bridge that disconnect? Perhaps the company's had to lay off 10% of its workforce or something, but they're not laying off their salespeople, and in fact, their salespeople, they're making stuff happen. Now, you know, as the leader of the company, that you need to keep the salespeople engaged and motivated. But how do you create it so that it doesn't seem like the salespeople are some sort of special breed and they're somehow disconnected from the rest of the people in the company?
Well, I think it's leveling the playing field, that do not only incentivize the sales force, but also incentivize the rest of the company to support people, the people who are in service, the people who are creating the product, the people in IT that create the customer web experience. And a great enlightened leader creates meaning for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that is a never-ending job that sales leaders or business leaders need to over-communicate, that if you join our company, you are going to be on an express train into the future, and here's my future vision, and here are the best methodologies and the best technologies, and here are the tracks that we will lay together in order to win the customer's hearts and minds. If the customer is not happy and satisfied, then the company is in jeopardy.
Thanks a lot, Gerhard. It's always a pleasure. Great thoughts from Gerhard Schwantner, the publisher of Selling Power. Sticking to your values and motivating your top salespeople will help push a company through a tough time. But as the starting place, you want to make sure that your salespeople have the qualities that will help them perform effectively and successfully. And I know you said, Herb, that ego drive, that desire to persuade, is a key quality in top salespeople, along with a motivation to really use that drive to succeed. How does that play into helping someone make it through a tough time?
You need to have people who want to persuade, but in good times, a lot of people get by as order takers. It's fine, as long as the number's okay, they hang in. But suddenly, in these bad times, the orders don't get taken that easily. They got to be sold. And so it becomes absolutely critical to take a look at your current salespeople and say, look, who really can sell and who's gotten by?
So from a psychological perspective, Herb, what do they do then to dust themselves off and then to be able to use those other skills to succeed where others don't?
They need the sale badly enough that they figure out how they're going to get it, as opposed to making the excuse, I can't do it because of the economy. And that's what you hear. But it's also that need to get it done, that need to win.
Interesting. I think Extensus is a great example of how a company has been able to hire great salespeople and improve their sales significantly. There was a recent article in the Wall Street Journal about how they are doing just that. We're going to be speaking with Dan Sheridan now. Dan is the Vice President of Sales at Extensis. Dan has been able to completely reshape his sales team by implementing some effective hiring and motivational strategies, as well as preparing his team for challenging times. So I guess the best way to describe Extensis is as a comprehensive, outsourced human resources department. Is that right, Dan?
Yes, we're a PEO, which is a professional employers organization, and our goal is to help small and mid-sized businesses save time, money, and energy through HR outsourcing.
I know you have completely revamped your sales department in the past. How have your perceptions about what you look for a salesperson changed in this economic downturn?
We've created a system. We've created a sales process. We have an excellent job profile and interviewing process. And what we're doing is, rather than doing something rash or trying to scramble at the last minute to find something that might improve our situation, we know it works, so we're continuing to stay the course.
Explain to us, if you would, then, in terms of the profile that you've developed of your top salesperson. What is it that you look for?
We look for someone who's a high-activity person, or better known as a hunter. They enjoy it, they thrive off of it, what they're used to, rather than farming. Somebody who is basically a prospecting machine. That's the most fundamental and important aspect of our sale. Doesn't matter how intelligent you are, if you can't generate opportunities for yourself, you will not be successful. The other things that we look for is someone who's competitive or money motivated. These things are very important when you're in a hunting position. Also, we're dealing with small business owners, individuals who are struggling to survive in this economy. So they're looking for somebody who's credible and trustworthy. They're placing their business, their family business, their baby into our hands. So they really need to be able to rely on us and count on us. And then also our salespeople need to be strategic and consultative. Our sale is long. Our process is long. There are many moving parts in our sale, so our sales representatives need to be strategic and consultative. And really, there's some intangibles there. Basically, they need to be willing to do things that I would say 90% of most salespeople aren't willing to do. A lot of that has to do with activity, sticking to a structured sales process, putting in the extra hours before 9 o'clock and after 5 o'clock. Our sales team actually has the Abba Dabba Doo song. If anyone leaves at 5 o'clock, they kind of rib each other if anyone steps out of the office early.
That's, I love that. That's excellent. That's terrific. Now, during these tough times, what do you find is your primary job as a sales leader, Dan?
I believe the most important thing to do is to, as I said earlier, stay the course, remain focused, not to panic. Salespeople at this point in time can be fearful, can start to create head trash for themselves, which is where the economy is the reason why I can't make a sale. The stock market, the credit crunch, all these things do play into the ability to make a sale, but I believe that if you stick to the basics, execution, focusing on strategy, then we will be successful. And it's when you let these other things creep into your daily routine that it has a negative impact upon you.
I'm interested, Dan. I mean, your company provides outsourcing of human resources programs, employee administration, cost-effective benefits, related administration, payroll, and tax services. There's clearly advantages to what you do in terms of streamlining processes, becoming more efficient, and saving money. Is that a hard sell because companies aren't looking to change, or does it become an easier sell?
I believe that the opportunity is actually there for us to grow in this market. I think businesses need us now more than ever. However, the mind frame of the prospect has changed. So things are probably a little more hectic. Maybe they've reduced their workforce. Maybe they've taken on greater responsibility. So now they have less time to meet with vendors like ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they become more judicious about how and where they spend their money and whether they will spend any money at all. So these things do come into play, but our product and the services that we offer allow them to focus on growing their business and operating their business efficiently during this downturn in the market, as well as, we can help them control costs and reduce liabilities. We have that ability, and the people who get the concept and who are willing to listen to us understand that and actually benefit from our meetings.
But the real difficulty, as I'm hearing you say this, Dan, is getting someone's attention when they're maybe focused inside or they're focused on just doing what they were doing before a little bit faster, a little bit harder.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think, or everybody's natural instinct or reaction to a downturn in the market is to not spend, not speak with vendors. People kind of shut down. And basically, the hardest thing about our sale, or I think pretty much any sale, is getting face time or opportunities to meet with decision makers. And I think I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest reasons why salespeople fail is their inability to generate activity or opportunities. And we've also decided to spend a little extra money on our marketing to help support our salespeople through this time.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. A lot of companies cut back on marketing at times like this. What are you focusing on? What are you concentrating on in terms of your marketing?
Well, we've gone full steam ahead with our email marketing program, our networking program through referral partners or channel partners. And then we've outsourced some telemarketing to a company that helps us schedule appointments to support our sales team. So our sales team is calling out full-time to schedule appointments, and then we have an outsourced telemarketing company who helps support them by scheduling additional appointments.
So that's interesting. There's an analogy there in terms of you're reaching out to people who are specialists in what they do, just as you're looking to companies to look to you because you're a specialist in what you do.
Absolutely. It makes sense. We understand outsourcing. We understand the value of outsourcing. And if we can pay a company to help support our sales team and grow our business and it's economical, then that's the right thing for us to do.
Part of what you were talking about, Dan, was replacing fear with confidence. And some salespeople will just kind of get garbage inside their mind and just kind of deal with that sort of trash. You know, the economy is down. I can't get past this. How do you instill confidence in somebody, in a salesperson who's been a very good performer, but their fear is taking over and their confidence is shaken?
I'll be honest, I haven't had any issues with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I won't. One of the reasons why is we have a strong management team. We are extremely focused, and because we focus on what I call like the basics, we haven't seen a lull in the number of opportunities or our ability to close deals yet. I think it's more we were proactive, realizing what was going on with the market, maintaining focus and accountability. And I also think it goes back to, which is how we hire to begin with, and the people and the individuals that we hire to come on and sell our product. And that is that they actually thrive in these situations. These are challenges. There is tension. There's accountability issues. And the people that we look for to bring on thrive in these scenarios, in these situations.
I wanted to ask you if there was any specific examples you could tell me about somebody who is shining through this time. In other words, is there an example of somebody who is just doing incredible during these times, and how is he or she doing that?
We actually have a group. One of the examples that I can discuss is we put a sales activity contest in for a 2-month period. There's a prize available to the salesperson who generated the most submissions or RFIs, requests for information, to Extensis. And normally what happens with this, usually you have 1 or 2 people break away from the pack who outpaces the rest of the group. What happened with us was we have 10 sales reps at the time. We had 5 people. It came down to the last day of the contest at 5 p.m. before the winner was determined. And the space between the person who came in first place and the person who came in 5th place was only 2 submissions. It's actually, I have a group of people who are really what I would consider the pace setters, who have gotten out in front and are really leading the team by example. It's not one particular individual. More than half the team has stepped up and is putting our team on its back and carrying it.
And so the best salespeople in these times, Dan, they turn up that competitive drive?
Absolutely. It's like an athlete. They thrive. They live for these situations. They want to be the one in the spotlight. A lot of salespeople, it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about the recognition. So when they get in these situations, they go into a zone. They fire on all cylinders. They execute. They're focused. Those are the people that come out on top, and those are the people that we're looking to bring on.
And so the lesson for you really is that you've prepared for this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we prepare. I think the most important thing I can do here as Vice President of Sales is to